Welcome to the PI Podcast, your destination for everything NFL, discussing the latest news and providing in-depth analysis of every NFL game. And now, here are your hosts, Ian and Tesh.
Hey guys, what is up? PI Podcast finally back again after like a month and a half, I think, something like that.
I was gonna say it's been a while.
Yeah, we're trying to look to get back into things. So, Ian, let's just start off quick takeaways from yesterday's game.
I mean, there's a lot to break down here. The two biggest takeaways, and it's both on Josh McDaniels as a head coach. They should not have lost to the Rams. Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, anybody. A Matt Stafford-led Rams team should not have beaten the Raiders. But the fact that you had a quarterback who's played garbage this season and has been on the team less than 48 hours beat you on primetime television on a network that just got this deal, had millions of viewers watching, and you let Baker Mayfield beat you.
That's embarrassing, honestly. That's embarrassing if I was a coach too. He didn't do the same. He did the same thing with the Colts. Jeff Saturday came off his couch and then beat them that week, and that was when
Jeff Saturday literally tweeted about the Raiders sucking, and then went out and beat them and proved that they suck.
Yeah, I just don't get it. And that was right after that game. That's when Derek Carr had that big post-game interview where he's crying. He's really actually got them towards this 3-game winning streak that they've been going on. But at the end of the day, I mean, the first drive was probably the best drive of the game. And that's how the Raiders should have looked throughout the whole game. They should have been able to pump up the score at least to 28 or something like that. Yeah, AJ said Purdy over Baker. What's up, AJ?
Purdy. I'm telling you what, man. I'm excited for Mr. Irrelevant.
I think
I liked what I seen out of him. Game 1.
Yeah, I think he was very poised and just coming back. But also, hey, if he keeps playing like that, if he keeps playing poised, reading his reads, getting the ball out to his checkdowns, even he was throwing 20 medium passes too. Like if he's accurate like he was against the Dolphins, then they have a shot of like just going far, especially with this defense and especially with all the pieces around him.
Man, that defense is set, and they're in a division that's easily winnable by them. With how, I mean, granted, the Seahawks have really surprised everybody, obviously, but the Cardinals aren't a threat, and the Rams are not a threat. So they definitely have that division. It's a very winnable division for Purdy to go out there. All he has to do is protect the football. That's literally his only job, is to protect the football. They will win probably at least 3 of the next 5 games.
Yeah. Tyler, what's up, Tyler? He said Ritter is the future GOAT. I'm excited for Ritter too. One point on the 49ers though. As much as Purdy played well, Kyle Shanahan is an offensive mastermind. I've said it before. He knows how to draw up plays and draw up the X's and O's so that their tight end, George Kittle, or any wide receiver going, they have these routes, certain routes that Kyle Shanahan draws up to help the offense, or even help Jimmy Garoppolo when he was in there, to actually succeed. And he did the exact same thing with Brock Purdy. He knew he was going to have to rely on Brock Purdy making some accurate throws. and he drew that scheme, which is just crazy because if he keeps playing like that, and if Kyle Shanahan is actually what I think he is and a really good offensive scheme maker, then I think they're going to win 3 out of the next 5, like you just said.
At least.
Yeah,
And that's
at
without
least.
looking at their schedule.
They play the Seahawks on Thursday Night
Football.
Football next week.
All I know is you could tell me their schedule was Bills, Chiefs, name 3 other good teams, and I would still have them winning 3 out of 5 with the talent they have on that roster.
They're just too much that they added that really helped their situation with the big Christian McCaffrey trade. So, as we all know, Marcus Mariota was the Falcons' starting quarterback up until after the Steelers game, and they just announced that Ridder is starting Week 15 against the New Orleans Aints. Tyler, I'm not sure if we draft a quarterback, but it's really going to depend on these 4 games with Ridder. I don't know how much you're expecting out of him, but he is a 3rd-round QB, and if he's just gone under the radar, like just absolutely terrible, then I think they have a decision to make in the draft. But I would really like, I really like a defensive player in this year's draft.
Yeah, it really depends on how he plays, like you said. If it looks like it's a mess, 100% you're drafting a quarterback. But like you said, if you see some promise, all right, well, what's the team's biggest needs if Desmond Ridder can win you 8 games next year? Like what's your next biggest need that you have to address, and you're going to address that in the first round next year.
Yeah, thanks, AJ. Tyler said, yeah, I mean, I could see it if he busts and we have a chance of getting a good QB. Yeah, the next year's draft's going to have lots of good QBs, but I'm hoping that Ridder is the answer because I wouldn't want to have to waste that pick that we have next year on a quarterback when we already have a rookie quarterback that we don't know even how he's going to play because he's only going to have 4 games literally at the end of the season. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah, exactly, Tyler. Wide receiver, cornerback, pass rush. I'd go towards the defensive side a little more than wide receiver. Yeah. I think we got that in Drake London, and Kyle Pitts is going to be back next year. But pass rush especially, if we can get the best edge rusher in that draft, or at least the second best, I'll be happy.
I think Tyler made an interesting point with the wide receiver because had you guys kept Calvin Ridley, your wide receiver room would have been probably set with Calvin Ridley. But I don't think you use another first-round pick on another wide receiver. You can address something else and then possibly get a wide receiver in the 3rd round, late 2nd, 4th, and probably make something happen with him because whoever you get, I mean, they're going to be a wide receiver too. Drake London's the guy. Like, he will be the guy if he's not already. So you don't need to use a top draft pick on a wide receiver. It is a need, but you don't need to use a top pick on it.
Yeah, and the other thing is we haven't, like, from the Falcons' standpoint, they've been running the ball so much because they know Mariota's limits and inaccuracy issues. But at the same time, he's never gone over 200 yards this season. Maybe once, I believe, but I think it was close. I think his highest was like 196 or something like that. But he's never gone over 200 yards passing. And I don't think that's because of how much we were running the ball and how inaccurate it was. But I think Olamide Zaccheaus is a good wide receiver 3. I'm not saying he's wide receiver 2. But I want to see a more accurate quarterback what he can do with the receivers around him. Especially now that Kyle Pitts out. We're going to see more who's going to step up and who's going to be here next year on wide receiver depth chart.
Well, that's also something to mention, too. The offense doesn't need to change because Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota both have wheels. They both can throw. Like, you don't have to change the offense at all. And Desmond Ridder's been sitting there for 14 weeks learning this playbook. He should be able to come in, and as long as he can make the throws that Mariota was missing, your offense is going to be even better.
Yeah. Tyler said,
"Well, all you need."
Yeah, that's literally we're close. It's just the quarterback position right now. Tyler said, "What would you say about bringing in Mayfield? I think put him in a system that he has a really good chance and making him maybe he shows some promise." And I'm going to talk about a rumor in a second that I've heard around the NFL and stuff like that. Um, so Baker Mayfield, I don't think he fits our system as well as Mariota or even Ritter. Um, I don't think we're even going to look at him, but the Rams just picked him up. Going about that rumor, there's heavy rumors that if Baker Mayfield does good, he did good besides that, but doesn't mean anything. Um, if he does good and Matthew Stafford, his neck injury, he doesn't want to have surgery on it, it could be a career-ending injury. He would just retire at the end of the season. This is just a rumor, but he could potentially retire at the end of the season, and Baker Mayfield would take over, and Sean McVay would be okay with it if he fits well into the Rams system.
Mm. Well, I think we noticed from last year, the Falcons are not afraid to go after a quarterback. You've seen it last year or the beginning of the year with Deshaun Watson. They attempted to grab him. So it's not off the table for them to go after a quarterback, even when you have, they had Matt Ryan who's been here, 10 years? 12, I don't remember how many
14,
seasons
yeah,
he's been
14.
here. 14. So obviously the Falcons are not afraid to make a move at the quarterback position, whether it's the first round pick that they've got in right now, or if somebody hits the market, Lamar Jackson somehow hits the market, they're not afraid to go after a quarterback like that. So that's something to keep an eye on too. That just because you're not gonna address it in the draft, or you think you addressed it last year with Desmond Ritter, there's a huge possibility one of these guys coming off an expiring contract doesn't re-sign with their team, and then the Falcons make an all-out effort to get it.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people wanting Lamar Jackson just because of the contract things. I think he's going to either get franchise tagged or just going to get a huge contract in the year.
Yeah.
But
He's
but
signing with the Ravens.
I don't want me personally, just as me personally, I kind of don't want Lamar. He's good. I know he's good. I think we just need a fresh starter quarterback. We don't need a veteran quarterback like Marcus Mariota, or not even veteran like him because he was backup, but someone like Lamar Jackson who's closer to 30 than anyone else if we had a chance at like another rookie quarterback or something like that. I think Lamar has shown that he can throw the ball and run the ball, which he is amazing at. Don't get me wrong, but there's so many issues that I have with Lamar inaccuracy wise. He's more accurate than Mariota, but there are some things that limit him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think, I was talking with my fiance's stepdad, who's a big Steelers fan, and he said, every time Lamar plays the Steelers, he's not very great. Like, he's got, I think it was 6 interceptions to 4 touchdowns and only like 600 passing yards, and he's played in 5 games against them. So, like, the Ravens have to think about that. So that could factor into how much they offer him. But with the way the market is right now, I think Lamar is going to be the guy to reset it. And if it's not him, they franchise tag him, then Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are going to get fat contracts this offseason if Lamar does not sign one and gets franchise tagged, because they're going to have to before Lamar gets a contract, because they're going to be worth more than Lamar is, I think.
Yeah, Brian, we're just talking about any team literally right at this moment. We were talking about the Falcons quarterback and how they're not afraid to go get a quarterback, whoever's not signing the contract next year.
Yeah.
Right now, we could talk about anything. Like, if you have a question for us, definitely ask away. But right now, we're talking about Falcons and their quarterback, what Desmond Ritter is going to do and whatnot right now. But we are going to talk about a lot of other things. He said the images look like a football video game that didn't get NFL license and made their own logos. Well, someone custom made this for me. It's pretty damn cool. Yeah, but it's pretty damn cool.
Then I was also thinking, the Jets with Zach Wilson. Is there going to be a market for Zach Wilson? Is he going to come back and play? I mean, obviously, I think the Jets' long-term goal is for Zach Wilson to get back on the field. But if he is, what do you do with my boy Mike? Like, does he sit the bench behind Zach, or do you try to get some draft capital for a guy like that? And then same thing with San Francisco. If Brock Purdy does halfway decent, you don't keep Jimmy G around because you have Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. So then where does Jimmy G go after that? There's got to be a market for Jimmy G. He's a winner. I mean, granted, he can't. There's obviously some limitations with Jimmy G, but a team's going to be interested in him.
Yeah, appreciate it, Brian. Yeah, Mariota. I'm glad the switch happened right now. Cordero should be QB. That'd be kind of fun to watch. Yeah, Brian said Jets gonna trade Wilson to San Francisco, or even Tom Brady to San Francisco. Those two would be interesting things, but I don't know if Kyle Shanahan is gonna get Brady or even Wilson. I don't think he wants Wilson there in San Fran, and I don't think he wants Tom Brady there either.
Wilson just went to that small-time school, so there's really no telling what his ceiling could possibly be. But the floor is obvious.
Well, we've seen his floor. And it's not looking good right now. Oh my god. And one thing I want to see, one thing before we get on to another topic. One thing I want to see Ritter next Sunday. I want to see him hit a pass that Mariota couldn't in this season, and that would just like ease me more of him being the starter even next year. Like just hitting some stuff that Mariota couldn't just would give me just a lot of hope.
Yeah, I would like to see the same. Just one or two plays that Marcus Mariota could not do. I would like to see Desmond Ritter hit. I'm cool with him making mistakes too. Obviously, that's going to happen with a rookie that hasn't played at all. Like, I'm cool if he throws a dumb interception because that's going to happen from time to time, especially with a rookie quarterback learning an NFL defense in real time. He's practiced, he's read the plays, he's probably studied defensive plays, but to actually be put in the situations, he's going to make some mistakes. But I would like to see him hit some passes that Marcus Mariota just completely failed on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brian. Atlanta can still technically win the division. They're only a game behind Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay plays San Francisco this week. So very tough defense. Probably gonna lose. Just looking at it from a standpoint, probably gonna lose that game. So it's all up to Desmond Ritter and that offense. They still have technically a chance of the playoffs. AJ said Kyle Shanahan was flirting with Brady on his last press conference. Ooh. The big rumor I heard about Brady is that at the end of the season, the Patriots are going to trade Mac Jones and they're going to get Brady back, which is a big rumor. But I don't know. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. He's on his last literally. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him Tampa Bay. He can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants, actually. He might not even sign back with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, there's no telling. I mean, obviously, being him, you don't want to go into another season and have a season like they're having now. Like, you want to play for a meaningful, end-of-year run. And it's going to be very hard for them to do that. Even if they make the playoffs, with how much they've been struggling in the regular season, they're not going to beat the teams like a fully healthy 49ers team in the playoffs. Or even at this point, I wouldn't put them beating Seattle in the playoffs. Like, Seattle's really shocked me. Which I guess that goes to show that the Seattle Seahawks, in my opinion, are going to make playoffs. But like the Vikings, they're not beating the Vikings. I thought the NFC was going to be really weak, and it's definitely weaker than the AFC. But I mean, there's been some good teams come out of this NFC. Like the Vikings have really shocked people, I think. Now, granted, I told everybody they were going to be the winner of that division. I put it in writing. A lot of people said Lions in second, and I did not believe that. But I actually think they do have a legit shot at second. with the way Green Bay has been playing, which I also expected them to be bad this year. So we'll see.
Detroit's favored against Minnesota this week.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Lions are fully healthy finally for the first time. They finally got every piece back. Jameson Williams finally got to play last week against Jacksonville. Granted, he was on a limited snap count, but dude, that offense is smooth. There's playmakers on defense. Aiden Hutchinson. I think one more draft and possibly another offseason, and they have potential. They did the right thing sticking with Dan Campbell and letting him build something before cutting him because, granted, the losses have piled up for Dan Campbell, but it's finally clicking, and they have a lot of potential, especially next year.
Yeah, Brian. I don't think Brady. I don't even know what's in Brady's mind right now. But I don't think he wants to go back to New England. That's a long shot thing. Yeah, AJ Mariota's best game was against San Francisco, but they were out like 6 players. But still, they were a really good defense even then. So I don't know what to say. Mariota's Mariota. He's so inaccurate right now. I'm just glad. I don't know. I'm done. Because I went to that home game in Carolina. I saw him firsthand, and he had one of the worst games of the season in Carolina. I was sitting out there in a cold, goddamn rain, and I was seeing him overthrow someone wide open. Oh, wait. The one pass that pissed me off, he overthrew Kyle Pitts on a wide open 20-plus yard play, and he had no pressure in his face. That pissed me off. Yeah. But enough that, Brian, yeah, Lions can still technically win the division, but it's a very unlikely. I don't think it's not going to happen because Vikings have to lose out. That's literally is what it
the
is.
Vikings are not.
Ooh, Brian's predicting Detroit blows his Vikings out 31-10.
Ooh, that's interesting. I love the Lions offense. I really think the Lions offense is going to be special. Like I said, the defense is what worries me. But like I said, if they draft heavy on defense next year, they're going to be very solid squad.
They've been
And it
playing
could
very
happen.
well. Yeah, the Lions defense has been playing very well the second half.
Yeah, it stepped up. I was going to say over the second half of the season, they've really stepped up, and it helps now that their offense is fully healthy. They're going to be off the field more with their offense being able to move, and they have a deadly running game with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams has really went off since DeAndre Swift got hurt, but now DeAndre Swift's healthy, so they've really got a lot going for him. And an offensive line. Their offensive line is very good. Jared Goff had 10 years in the pocket against the Jaguars, even though the pass rush sucks for the Jags. But
Yeah, but dude, I just love this. I don't know. It just thing about Dan Campbell and how he puts together his team, how he talks to his team. We saw it in Hard Knocks early in the season. And Brian said Lions defense has been top 5 since the bye, top 3 line. Yeah, they've been really good on offensive line. Aiden Hutchinson's been an absolute beast too. Like he's making plays that I don't think he was gonna. I didn't think he was gonna make, but he's been dominating as a rookie.
He's been very good, which I think we all knew.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think we all knew Aiden Hutchinson was going to come in and be a playmaker, but he hasn't lost a step since college. Like, if there was worries that the NFL would be faster, he wouldn't have enough time to get to the quarterback, he's proved all that wrong.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a fun game to watch on Sunday too. I'm gonna be ready to watch that game. That's gonna be fun to watch. Ooh, Jeff Okuda's if he's not injured, he's gonna be on Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jameson Williams finally coming back too. I think he's gonna have a larger role this week too.
He should be because he was on a limited snap count last week, but they went for him once. They got broken up, but they went deep for him once. He's fast, dude. He's fast.
I got him in my dynasty. I traded something like a 5th round pick for him. So I was like, okay.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And I traded away Amari Cooper in my dynasty. But I got Scary Terry.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Brian said Rams got the Super Bowl, but Detroit got the better QB. Yeah, I mean, you can say that because who knows? Stafford has been playing horrible this season, and he's out.
I I truly believe this is going to be a rare instance where both teams won the trade.
Yeah, exactly like the Justin Jefferson stuff on Diggs trade.
Yeah. I really do believe both teams are going to win that trade because Matt Stafford got his Super Bowl ring. The Rams got a Super Bowl ring. The Lions, granted, it's not going to be a win in the trade very quickly, but look at where they're at. Now the Rams suck, and the Lions are going to get a top 5 pick from the Rams. Well, unless Baker Mayfield wins them a couple games, that could change, but I don't see that really happening. But like I said, they're going to probably have a top 5, top 7 pick from the Rams.
Brian said Goff is a cheap franchise QB. He's been excelling, and I'm really liking him in this Lions offensive scheme that they have. And he's just been that pick that the Rams picked. Like he's been getting better and better every year. And like I remember his rookie year playing the Falcons. We beat him like 40-10 or something like that. Like he was horrible, and everyone was writing him off. And then they even write him off after the Super Bowl and when they lost. And then he got traded to the Lions, and bam, playing a lot better.
Yeah, change of scenery definitely helped him. And
Yeah,
you can tell Dan Campbell has trust in him.
Let's talk about the playoff picture real quick. How everything's coming together. I think I'm about to pull it up. But Ian, how are you feeling about the Jags? While I'm looking this up.
We're pretty far. We're not making the playoffs this year. Like that, I've decided that week 4. But well, I actually knew coming into the season. I said 6 wins, so I knew we weren't going to make the playoffs this year. But that showing against the Lions was a huge step in the wrong direction, and it came at a very bad time. The week after Trevor Lawrence gets probably the biggest win. It was his biggest win of his NFL career for sure against the Ravens. He led that 2-minute drive with less than 2 minutes, no timeouts, led him down the field for the game winner, then took the 2-point conversion to win. And then you go out and play the Lions, and the defense just 8 possessions, 8 scores. The Lions didn't punt once. You can't do that. And I think that's, to be honest, it's a win for the Jaguars because I really believe after that, the Jaguars will clean the front office. I don't think Trent Baalke stays as GM after that performance because the defense needs an overhaul. And Trent Baalke obviously can't draft. You pass on Aiden Hutchinson for Trayvon Walker. And I'm not disagreeing that Trayvon Walker is going to be a good player in the NFL eventually. But you had the surefire Aiden Hutchinson, who's got multiple interceptions, multiple sacks, highest pressure grade. Like, there's so much that Aiden Hutchinson had to offer. It was proof. You could watch any college highlight video and see it. You look up Aiden Hutchinson's highlight videos from college, you got a 20-minute long video. You look up Trayvon Walker, you got a 4-minute video. Why is Trayvon Walker the first pick when Aiden Hutchinson's sitting there? Bizarre. I don't know.
Yeah, look. The Jags have shown a lot of fight this year, especially in that Ravens win. Like, looked very, very good. Trevor's been playing very good. Has been living up to his pick. There's a bright future for the Jaguars, and they're playing a lot better, and they're in a lot of one-score games. So definitely, gonna be good for them in the future, especially next year. Next year, you can see improvement.
The only issue with next year, we're going to have some decent draft capital. We got a extra 5th or 6th for James Robinson. I believe we offload Shaquille Griffin. I think we cut him. There's like a $5 million cap hit or something for cutting him. It's not very big. And then we're faced with a decision to either re-sign Josh Allen, which he'll play on the 5th-year option next year. But we're either going to have to do a contract for Josh Allen or we're going to have to do a contract for our right tackle, Jawan Taylor, who 5 years in is having the best year of his career in a contract year, but he sucked the first 3 years. So major decisions, and I do not want Trent Baalke being the one to make that decision. Marvin Jones' contract is expiring. I don't think you re-sign him, unfortunately, even though he's been very solid. You don't re-sign Shaquille Griffin. So I think there's going to be another overhaul, and you're going to have to replace it with young talent, which is a little scary for next year too, because you expect better things next year. But if you're replacing vets with rookies, obviously that doesn't always lead to success.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of things they're going to think about in the offseason, but hey, you can only get better too. And Trevor's looking like your guy, so that's
we have the quarterback and we have the coach. I'm 100% certain of that.
Yeah, so they should be. They'll probably win a game or two here at the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, we should be able to win 2 more, I think. We play the Titans twice, which those are going to be tough games. We play the Texans one more time. And then we play... Damn, I don't remember who else we play.
But the Titans game, I think you guys will probably win that game. Probably.
It all depends. I mean, that's going to be... The Titans don't have a wide receiver core, which is the Jets. Yeah, see, that's going to be a tough game, though.
Yeah.
We have all 4 tough games. We suck against the Texans. We suck against the Titans. We haven't beaten the Titans we haven't beaten the Texans in like 5 years, and we haven't beaten the Titans away in 10 years or something. Like, it's insane.
That's crazy.
And then obviously the Jets mollywopped us last year, and we got to play them again.
Yeah.
So.
I have the playoff picture pulled up right now. This isn't confirmed or anything. This is just playoff picture as of right now. In the AFC, number 1 seed. I think we could probably guess this. The Bills are the number 1 seed at the moment. The Chiefs are number 2 with the same record, but Bills beat the Chiefs earlier this year, so they got the head-to-head. Ravens at number 3. Titans at number 4. Bengals 5. Dolphins 6, and Jets are 7. And there's a few teams on the bubble. 6-6 Patriots are on the bubble. Chargers are on the bubble. Browns are somehow on the bubble, and the Steelers. Also, with a low chance, the Colts, Broncos, Jaguars, Raiders are all at 8 losses. Probably not going to do too much soon. Browns, Steelers are a long shot too. They're really, I think, Patriots and Chargers up here on the bubble are really the only 2 teams that I think can make a push for playoffs this year.
So my big thing is I think the Bengals are going to beat the Ravens out for the division. Out of all those you listed, I think that's the biggest change that's probably going to happen. The Bengals are looking good. They're catching stride at the perfect time in the season. They started off a little slow. When Jamar Chase was out, they were kind of slow, but they're full stride ahead. And I think they'll end up beating the Ravens out, especially with Lamar being hurt and week to week. I don't think I like Tyler Huntley. I really do. I think he has potential to be a starter in the league, but he's not Lamar.
Brian said he thinks the Bengals could steal the number 1 seed.
The Bengals?
Yeah.
I agree with that. Because the AFC South, I don't think the Titans are going to be a top. Like, I think they're going to obviously win the division, but I think there's going to be a wild card teams that should be ahead of them, but because they're a division winner, they're going to have the 4th spot. So definitely could hop them. The Bills, I mean, they've been so banged up. They've been very banged up, so they have potential to fall. But I think it's going to be the Chiefs at the top. That's like they're looking good, man. They're the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Bengals are one game behind the Bills and
Yeah, I
Chiefs.
don't hate the Chiefs being. I don't hate the Bengals being number one. I think they have potential.
Yeah, they just beat the Chiefs too, so who knows? I looked at the
Yeah.
Chiefs and Bills schedule. The Bills have a pretty have a tough schedule last 4 games, and so do the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chiefs don't have the easiest schedule either last 4 games, so anything's possible right now.
That could be the deciding factor.
Yeah, and Titans play Jaguars twice in 4 weeks too. So hey, if any of these teams lose too, Titans have a good shot of going 3-1 or even 4-0.
Yep.
And also the Dolphins, can't forget about the Dolphins either, but they have a tough matchup this Sunday night against the Chargers.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins to still make the wild card. I know a lot of people are shitting on Tua again, which we were all worried about Tua coming into the season, but he proved us wrong. I mean, when you play the way he has for, 11, 12, 13 weeks, and he has one bad game, I'm not throwing him under the fire yet. He already proved I was a hater and I was wrong. I'm going to give him a couple more weeks to figure that out.
Yeah, I think Tua's been exceeding expectations this year, and I think a lot of people are happy. I don't get kind of the hate right now because he's been playing outstanding this year. So they're gonna get the wild card spot. I'm almost certain, unless somehow they collapse. But they have so much talent. Yeah, Brian. Since he has the tiebreaker against KC, so if they end up with the same record in a year, they're gonna jump over the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It seems like if the Chiefs have lost to two teams that could potentially tie them at the end of the season, which are the Bills and the Bengals. So if Bills or Bengals end up tying them at the end of the season, Chiefs can't get the 1 seed.
Don't forget about the Colts.
Yeah, no, they're gone. Yikes. Miami. Yeah. Wait. Miami faces. Oh, Miami plays Los Angeles this week. Oh, did they play San Francisco again? Oh, if Miami faces San Francisco again, you take Miami. Ooh. Potential Super Bowl matchup?
It depends who's the quarterback for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Because I would give Jimmy G a shot to win, but I haven't seen enough Brock Purdy to be confident enough to be like, no, the 49ers will beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins have looked the Dolphins are really hard to cover. And it's just like the Chiefs were, years past. Tyreek Hill just has the potential to get open if you give the quarterback time. And Tua has proven he can make those throws. So not only do they have Tyreek Hill, they also have Jalen Waddle to worry about. And if you cover the outside, you've got Mike Gesicki right down the middle of the field. And then if you cover all the receivers, you got Jeff Wilson running it up your throat. Like, they've got a very solid team.
It's hard for them to lose, and they lost against San Francisco. San Francisco was good defensively. It's just crazy how they went in and played how they did against the Dolphins, even when Jimmy Garoppolo went out.
Yeah, I'll get, like I said, that was a perfect performance. I commend Brock Purdy for coming in and doing what he did.
Yeah, Tua did miss some throws, Brian. He missed some throws that could have been big plays for them, especially trying to come back in the game. That could have potentially given him a chance to win.
Yeah.
At the AFC side, the Jets, their defense is playing better than I think a lot of people thought they would. I knew they were going to be good going into the season, but I didn't think they'd be this good of how good they're playing against teams.
Especially how fast they got good. I thought it was going to be kind of a build-up. I didn't think they'd be as good as they are at the end of the season with a build-up either. I thought they were going to be solid and then get to good, but they're elite. Like, that defensive unit is elite.
Yeah, exactly, Brian. Purdy, I hope he's good. He should be good. He looks like he fits Kyle's scheme, and yeah, Kyle Pitts does pick smart QBs who know the system. he's an offensive mastermind, and he knows who fits the system, which is why this team is good year in, year out. I know a lot of San Francisco fans don't like Kyle Shanahan and want him gone, but you got to look at the facts here. He's been having winning seasons. He's a basically offensive mastermind. So if you get rid of him, I don't think your offense is going to be the same.
Yeah.
So I don't get. I kind of don't get the fans. I get, but I don't get the fans who want Kyle Shanahan gone because yeah, he has choked a lot of big games, but the things he can do with their offense is just lights out, and it's going to be tough to replace him.
Yeah. And you have to go offensive minded anyway if you replace him because that defense is set. You need offense. Like the defense is going to be set because of all the playmakers they have, but the offense is what needs to be used correctly. So you need an offensive guy, at the very least, a very good offensive coordinator to run you off.
Exactly. I was talking about the NFC on 49ers. The NFC side, the Eagles are a number one seed. The Eagles and Vikings right now are fighting for that number one seed. So the Eagles can't slip up. Oh, well, they can't slip up because if they're tied, the Eagles have the hot tiebreaker because they've destroyed them. But there's a chance the Vikings could jump to the number one seed if the Eagles lose at least 2 out of the next 4, which is very possible because they played the Giants twice, the Commanders, and I think one other team. I forgot the last team, but they played the Giants twice and the Commanders once, so there's a good chance they could lose too. Also,
Washington already showed they could stick with them, so
yeah, they're gonna be ready for that matchup when they play Commanders next. Vikings have a tough game against. Oh well, supposedly a tough game against the Lions. We don't know how that's gonna play out yet. I think the Lions will give a fair fight though. And potentially could win. I mean, especially the way that offense is playing and the way the defense has stepped up. Definitely going to be a good game. But 49ers are 3 seed, Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the AFC South are 4th seed, but Falcons are only 1 game behind them. Who knows what's going to happen? They played 49ers this week, and they have an even tougher schedule last 3 weeks of the season. Cowboys, number 5 seed. Giants, number 6 seed, and Seattle is the number 7 seed. Washington is on the bubble right now with 7 wins. The Lions, Packers, Falcons. I think technically the Cardinals and Panthers and Saints are still on the bubble, but I think those teams you can kind of count out at this point. Except the NFC South, of course. So, but yeah, what are you thinking? Are you thinking the Eagles are gonna be the 1st seed?
yeah, unfortunately, I see them slipping in the playoffs. I don't know why either, because they haven't shown me really any signs that they will, but I didn't like that game against Washington. That really opened my eyes to like some of the issues that could possibly come up for the Eagles. But I like what Jalen Hurts is doing. I like the receiving core there. You know, AJ Brown's making a huge name for himself. And if they could triple team him, and then Devonta Smith is, running wild. So, and that defense, I mean, they've got some playmakers on defense too. You know, they've done a very good job bolstering up the defensive line. Their secondary is awesome. I mean, they've got a lot going for them. They just got to put it all together in the playoffs when it counts.
Yeah, Brian, I could definitely see Philly and Dallas slipping in the playoffs. Philly, that Commanders game, I was watching I was seeing the what do you call it? The inefficiencies that the Eagles have on their team. And the only thing I want to say about that is I know Jalen Hurts has been playing so good. He has the best passing game of the season last week against Titans. I just don't know if they get stopped running wise, if they stop Jalen Hurts running the football, if they stop Miles Sanders running, if a team in the playoffs somehow stops Jalen Hurts running the football, Miles Sanders running the football, and just take away AJ Brown. I don't know. I'm still not confident enough that Jalen Hurts is going to be able to throw 50 times and be able to make accurate passes to win them that game.
That's a good point. He hasn't had to. And one thing I'll mention so the Chiefs won their Super Bowl. and then they played Tampa Bay, and they lost to Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay eliminated the deep ball. Jalen Hurts in the playoffs are going to play teams that are not going to allow those huge 70, 60-yard bombs. They're going to keep everything in front of them. So, like you said, he's going to have to make 50 throws a game instead of 20, or if they
35
have
or
to run
something
it, or
like
they're
that.
gonna right, or they're gonna have to run the football a lot. And their run game's not perfect. It's just their passing game has been so deadly that it opens up lanes for them to run.
You said it exactly. That's the big concern. I'm worried about the Eagles. I know they have this record 11-1. Yeah, cool. But I don't see him making it. I don't see him making the Super Bowl. I don't see him kind of beating a very good team that is in the playoffs. I could even say that Dallas has a better defense, or just as good as a defense as the Eagles. And I could confidently say that Dallas has a better pass rush than the Eagles do.
Oh yeah, I like Dallas's defense better than the Eagles' defense at the moment. But the big thing for me for the NFC, when you list all those teams, I don't know who I predict in the NFC to make the Super Bowl because I see a lot of flaws in teams in the NFC. The Vikings have shown that they can be bad. Like when they lost, they lose. Like they don't like they lose big. So that worries me a little bit there. And the Cowboys have looked very good, but you have that history of the Cowboys making the playoffs and they literally can't win it. I don't like Mike McCarthy. I think coaching is an issue for that team. But then the bottom of your list, when you got the wild card teams all in, I don't like teams like Tampa, Saints. I don't like the Falcons in the playoffs, especially with a question mark at QB. Who in the NFC do you really think is like the most complete team to make it all the way? It's so hard to pick.
It really is. It's a toss. It's going to be a toss up in the NFC. Like I could see one of the seven teams in playoffs. One of them is going to make Super Bowl, and I can't confidently pick one. Yeah, Brian. Philly O-line is scary. He said Detroit's could be the Bengals from last year. I would love to see that. Yeah, Hurts.
I love watching. Yeah, I love that.
Hurts is young, and you saw it last year in the playoffs. He was inexperienced, and this year it might be the same thing again. I am more confident in someone else winning the playoff game than Jalen Hurts. And
that's not a.
Oh, sorry.
That's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. That he's a young guy, who hasn't been put in the position he's in this year. He hasn't had a situation like this where he's got a great team everywhere around him. They've built it. It could take a year or two for him to finally be the guy, and I'm confident he is the franchise quarterback for the Eagles. Coming into the season, I said he had to prove it so they don't draft a quarterback in this draft. I think he's proved enough to where they do not need a quarterback in this next year's draft. And I think they have like 2 or 3 first-round picks. They have 2.
Oh, who? The Eagles?
The Eagles, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they can use that to bolster their team even more. And I really think, like our point earlier, you have to go most likely with another wide receiver, in my opinion, unless one of these free agents walk. But, you limit A.J. Brown. Devonta Smith can be deadly, but he's hit or miss. And Dallas Goedert, he's not what Zach Ertz was. I mean, he's a good, solid tight end, but he's not, anything crazy.
Yeah.
So there's still holes.
Definitely. Brian said the thing about the Vikings, you're going to blow them out. If it's a close game, I'll take them to finish the game. He says he's going to pick the Vikings to make it from the NFC, especially if Philly loses and Minnesota gets home games. Yeah, definitely. I could see that happening, especially if Vikings get the 1 seed. The only thing, though, is I don't know. Vikings have a good defense, but they're also very susceptible to big plays, especially in the passing game, which is the only downside, which is why this NFC is so hard to pick who's going to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because all these teams have deficiencies, especially even the 49ers, because they're without a QB now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And granted, Christian McCaffrey does change things for the 49ers a little bit, not having a QB, because Christian McCaffrey can 100% carry an offense for a game or two. Deebo Samuel can take load off of Christian McCaffrey. So they have the playmakers. They just have to get a guy to get him the ball. That's all. Like I said, Brock Purdy, if he protects the football, it's not a deficiency to me. But if he starts making those rookie mistakes, he can't do that. And it's so late in the season. If Jimmy G and Trey Lance go down game 2, game 3, and Brock Purdy has had all this time to learn, I probably would have given the 49ers a way bigger chance and not say quarterback is one of their deficiencies. But it is, because he's only going to have 4 weeks of football when playoff time comes around.
Yeah, and CMC's already been back. Good point, Brian. CMC's been banged up too. He hasn't gone over 70 plus rushing yards. He's been under 40 rushing yards even the last few weeks, and it's been over a month since he went over 100 yards rushing. And I mean, you're winning, but that's your running back. I mean, that's if they stop Christian McCaffrey and you're gonna force Brock Purdy to come out and sling it 40 times a game, the favorite's in the other team.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, Brian said the Vikings gave up 500 yards to Mike White. Yeah, they're susceptible to the passing game. I've seen Harrison Smith, even how as good as he is, he's been beat deep a lot.
Yeah. The NFC is the most challenging conference to judge, because even though so like the AFC side, so I see deficiencies in the AFC teams too. Like the Chiefs defense is not that great, but it's not bad either. But that could be considered a deficiency. But the Chiefs, their offense is so high powered, I can 100% take the deficiency away from the defense, because the Chiefs can score on every single drive. You know, the Vikings many times have started off slow on offense. They have a great offense. I love their offense. I love the way it's designed. Love Justin Jefferson. Love Dalvin Cook. But they've started off slow in games. And like against Dallas, you can't go up against a good defense like Dallas and put up 3 points. You can't do that in the playoffs, because you're probably going to play Dallas in the playoffs. Like,
yeah, and it's hard even with these other teams too, like 6 and 7 seed right now with Giants and Seahawks. Giants, Danny Jones has been playing outstanding. The big deficiency I see in the Giants is their defense. I mean, their defense has been playing good enough to get them here, but their defense is probably the worst defense in the wild card, like literally in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to be the worst defense in that playoff hunt. And also,
see, that's what hurt. That hurts, because Daniel Jones has been playing outstanding, but they don't have the wide receiver room that anybody else in the AFC will have. You know, every wide receiver room has, you know, you could look Stephon Diggs, and you've got Travis Kelce. You've got, I'm trying to think of another AFC. Jamar Chase. They all have that. He doesn't have that. There's no big wide receiver Daniel Jones has. Every single one of his wide receivers up until week 12, not a single one had over 200 yards receiving on the entire season. He's been spreading the ball everywhere, which is a good thing, but he doesn't have that alpha. He doesn't even have a beta. He's just got a bunch of guppies that he's dumping the balls off. And Saquon Barkley. But Saquon Barkley, I mean, granted, he's came back very well from his injury, but you can't rely on that in the playoffs. It won't work. You cannot just run the football in the playoffs.
nah, you can't. It can't. And also, the Giants' O-line isn't that great either. That's a big deficiency as well. The Giants' O-line just hasn't meshed together yet. They played some good games, but they haven't meshed. And that's what you need to do in the playoffs. The Seahawks, what I see from them is they can be a high potent scoring offense. They can keep up with anybody on this list in the NFC. But the problem I see is, especially again, like the Giants, their defense can play well. They have good corners. They have good linebackers. They've been playing very well. It's going to be their pass rush. And also, Geno Smith, how is he going to play in the playoffs? Is he going to continue his
Yeah.
season? Or is he going to commit to the. Is he going to. What do you call it? Something to the pressure. He's going to succumb to the pressure.
I really like how these lower tier quarterbacks have really stepped up. And we just talked about Daniel Jones. Geno Smith the same way. He's really stepped up, but there's a reason he has not been a franchise guy yet. You know, can he lead this team in the playoffs? Who knows? You know, it's one thing when you're going up against teams like the Arizona Cardinals or, the Rams, who's beat up, not healthy, lost a lot of guys to free agency last year, or whatever the case may be. But when you go against Dallas, your first game, can Geno Smith score points against Dallas's defense, or even, well, AFC would be Jets, but one of these top defenses, 49ers, are they going to be able to beat the 49ers defense? That's, we don't know.
And one of the things that is going to be interesting to see after the season is what Pete Carroll's decision is. Is he going to try to look for the future quarterback, or is he gonna see Geno Smith's amazing season and sign him to a long for at least a 4-year contract? And the problem with that is, who knows? Geno could be gaslighting them. I mean, it's not every day you see a 14-year vet or however long he's been in the league come out here and just finally have his best season of his whole career and do
Yeah.
it again the next season. Geno Smith could be gaslighting them, and if Pete Carroll makes the mistake of signing him to a 4-year contract and doesn't draft the next QB in a QB loaded draft, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, that's very true. I forgot about Geno Smith, but a bunch of quarterbacks are coming into this next year. Now, granted, Lamar has opportunity to be franchise tagged, but Geno Smith is an option. Jimmy Garoppolo is an option. You've got Mike White, Zach Wilson drama going on in New York. Daniel Jones, he's on his last year. Did he play well enough to get an extension, or does Brian DeBole say, you know what, I can't do it with Daniel Jones. You're going to have to give me a guy in the draft. Then you've got someone like Daniel Jones, who's super young and obviously has shown this year he can learn given the right tools. So that's something to keep an eye on. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have potential. Marcus Mariota, who might not be on the Falcons next year unless they decide to pay him as a backup, which I don't see. Mitchell Trubisky, he's not going to be on the Steelers. They're going to clear that cap space now that Kenny Pickett's the guy. There's so many guys that could be moved. Baker Mayfield, he's probably not going to sign an extension with the Rams, or he could. But then you've also got Matt Stafford. So I don't know. There's so many quarterbacks that have potential to move in the upcoming NFL season, along with a quarterback-heavy draft.
Yeah, and it's just gonna be tough. I personally, off of this NFC list, if I'm making an educated guess right now, Giants and Seahawks, I don't think they're gonna make it too far. The only teams I really neither the Buccaneers. The only teams I really see making it far are the Vikings, Cowboys, and maybe the Niners.
I can
So
see the 4 division leaders: Eagles, Cowboys, Niners. Who else did you say?
Eagles, Cowboys, Vikings.
Vikings. That's right. I could see them making the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be a wild card team that makes the Super Bowl from that list, because Dallas and the Vikings, to me, and the Eagles are all, well, I guess Dallas would probably be a wild card team if the Eagles won the division, but they're a top team. They're only going to have 3 losses, 4 losses, whatever. They Dallas, to me, is one of the most complete teams, but I don't like their coach. I don't like Mike McCarthy. Unless he wants to come on the podcast, I'll change my mind.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy. to change Ian's minds, come out on the podcast, tell us all the goodies. Um, those are the AFC and NFC playoff playoff picture as of right now. Still 5 weeks left in the season, so lots of things could change by the time we look at this again. It's crazy.
Especially the NFC. So much potential to change in the NFC. You have divisions that are super close, which that could change the whole playoff picture. Even if something as little as the Eagles and Dallas swapping, that could be a huge change. You have the NFC South that's probably not going to be decided until the very last game of the season.
Yeah, and expect. Yeah, Brian, Mike McCarthy's low-key lurking in the chat right now.
Wait, what did he say?
He said, "LOL, Mike McCarthy low-key lurking in the chat right now."
Yeah, he's gonna type in, "Let me be on the pod, bro."
Yeah. The NFC South, one game, even Carolina and New Orleans, they're 2 games out. And Atlanta's only 1 game behind Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, very, very good chance of losing to San Francisco this week, as good as San Francisco is. I know they have Brock Purdy, but I still think the 49ers are going to be favored. And then look at the next game after the 49ers. They play the Bengals. And they play the Cardinals, which isn't a given either as bad as they've been. If Kyler Murray somehow wants to resurrect himself and kind of win a game late in the season, he could do that. And then the last 2 games are division games.
I was going to say, I'll text Kyler and tell him to put down Call of Duty for the weekend that he plays Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think it's going to really help him have an off day from COD. Hopefully it's not double XP weekend then. That would suck. And then last 2 games are Panthers and Falcons, 2 division games. And the Panthers, they beat the Panthers. Oh, the Panthers beat them earlier in the season, didn't they? Yeah, the Panthers beat them 21-3.
Yeah.
They shut them down. So.
And the Falcons game went down to a field goal, didn't it?
Yeah, won 6 points.
So, oh no, the Saints game.
The Saints game, yeah, they were gonna lose that game too. Yeah, right now the Falcons schedule the last 4 games for them: Saints, Ravens.
The Saints, they lost to the Saints by a missed kick.
Yeah.
Or a block kick or whatever.
Whatever. It will collapse.
Definitely winnable.
Yeah.
Definitely winnable.
Ravens without Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
Without Lamar, I mean. My bad. And then Cardinals, and then the Bucks last game of the season.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a tiebreaker.
I know, and that's gonna be the fight. I 100% sure. I know look. I have a good feeling that the last game of the season for the Falcons Bucks, that's going to be flex to Sunday Night Football because it's going to be a win or go home type of scenario.
Yeah, as long as the Falcons win at least 3, they have to win 2 games at least.
Yeah.
And the Bucks have to lose their remaining games, basically.
Yeah, the Falcons have to win 3. Especially and it's a good chance the Bucks can lose 2 of the next 4.
Yeah.
That's literally probably the most undecided division, other than the NFC West, because Seattle is 1 game behind San Francisco, so who knows what happens there.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this: who do you think is Coach of the Year as of right now?
I think it should be Sean McDermott.
That's fair.
I do not like. Look, Nick Sirianni is cool, but I don't like his attitude. I don't like his character. I don't like him.
So I have a couple picks here. And I don't think he has a chance to win it, but Dan Campbell, you go from winning 2 games, or wait, no, they won 3 games last year. Right? Did they win 3 or 4? They had the second pick. The Jaguars won 3 games. I think they both won 3 games, but the Jaguars lost to a team that made them get the first overall pick or something. I don't remember. Anyway, he's completely flipped the Lions around. But then I also love Kevin O'Connell up in Minnesota. Like, they went from being a 7-9 team, or 7-10, or 8-10, to winning the division for the first time in a long time. So I like it. Like I said, Dan Campbell, I don't think he'll win it because he didn't win enough games. But the fact that he flipped the Lions around, but then even Robert Saleh flipping the Jets around. But also the Dolphins.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel. I was about to say, like, Mike McDaniels is a good choice too. I was thinking about it.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of another team that I could possibly think of. I mean, Andy Reid should always be in the conversation.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Zach Taylor,
possibly. I mean, I don't think he's.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna have another late season run.
He should have won it last year.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni is in it too.
Yeah, he should be. I mean, look at how Jalen Hurts developed. Like, I think that alone should put him in the conversation.
Hey, you could even put Kyle Shanahan or even Pete Carroll in it as well, if you wanted.
Yeah. Oh, you could definitely put Pete Carroll in it. Depends on the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, Brian Daboll too.
Dude, the way the Giants... These first-year coaches in general, but these new coaches, I mean, other than Josh McDaniels, I'm trying to think if anybody else really shit the bed before I say this. I don't think so. Not like Josh McDaniels has. All these new coaches have done a fairly good job. The Vikings completely turned around. Dolphins completely turned around. Trying to think of who all. Brian Daboll completely turned around the Giants. They had Daniel Jones saying he was the worst quarterback in the league. Like, if there was 50 quarterbacks, they wouldn't take Daniel Jones. And now you're looking at Daniel Jones and you're like, damn, that guy can actually kind of ball out a little bit.
Oh my god. Yeah, Hackett. No, Hackett. Oh, Hackett and McDaniels. They're in the same division too. Oh no.
That's what I.
Wait. I got a special award for. Oh, what do you say?
I was gonna say I knew there was a coach I was forgetting that sucked. That was a first-year coach.
Yeah, I got
I couldn't remember.
I got a special award, and it's the award for letting a guy come off his couch and win a game against you. It is Josh McDaniel. He gets the award for most useless coach against the opponent who's been sitting on the couch.
After that game, the Colts beating the Raiders for Jeff Saturday's first victory, I really thought, like, yeah, it's really funny that Josh McDaniels sucks that bad. But I thought there was a glimmer of hope that Jeff Saturday was going to be a great head coach.
No, I thought he was there. There was a lot of emotion. I thought the Colts were going to be able to win a few more games. Brian. Jeff Saturday counts. Like, literally, he's even more accountable than Baker Mayfield 2 days wise, because Jeff Saturday was literally probably coming the next day. He was coming off of a college football game day, and he literally was sitting on his couch, just sitting down, and he got a call, probably eating something. Imagine him eating a burger or something, and he just cuts a phone call. He's like, "Hey, wait, do you want me to coach? I've never done this before. I'm literally watching TV."
You need me to coach tonight?
Yeah, tonight?
No, dude, imagine Jeff Saturday came in and won like 5 games.
Dude, that'd been crazy. I'd have been happy. I think the turning point of the Colts season was when they benched Matt Ryan. He was 3-1. I know why they benched him. The turnovers were crazy, but he was 3-1. And who knows if he was still the starter? Who knows what would happen? But I don't know.
Yeah, there's no telling.
Yeah.
That's gonna be. I forgot about Matt Ryan.
He was on pace for
Who
5,000
knows
passing yards, too.
Yeah, who knows where he's going next year? If he could retire, I think the Colts move on from him.
Yeah.
I don't see a new coach coming through and being like, yeah, well, let's keep Matt Ryan around. I think they're going to try to move on, but I could be wrong.
The only thing I could see that wise is they do draft a rookie quarterback next year and they keep him just to mentor him. That's the only reason
Could be.
I'd
Yeah,
see.
I would. If I was Atlanta, I would do that.
Or in my hopeful world, Colts cut Matt Ryan. We send Matt Ryan to like as a backup, and then he mentors Ritter a little bit more.
That's what I was saying, because honestly, I think Matt Ryan would do that.
Yeah.
I think he would accept the backup role to teach somebody.
Or who knows, one of these QB needy teams, maybe even the Jets, could just pick him up, especially if someone who has a whole line.
Yeah, it depends on. I was going to say someone like the Rams too. If Stafford's really as bad a shape as he's in, they're not going to use it. They don't have a draft pick to draft a quarterback, so they're going to have to constantly cycle through veteran quarterbacks.
The only reason I don't think Matt Ryan might not be a backup next year is because I know he still wants to play and be a starter. So he's going to do everything he can to actually just play, because I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon. I think he still wants to play like 3 or 4 more years even.
Yeah, he's got a few more records he can break for sure.
Yeah, he's about to pass, I think it was Peyton Manning or someone else for passing yards on the passing yards list.
I think he's going to go up to number 6, right? Or number 5.
Number 5 or 4, one or the other. Yeah.
I don't think it's Peyton Manning then. I think Peyton Manning's got to be like number 2 or 3.
Brian said McDaniels is so bad he got his QB in literal tears.
Dude, I'm actually really mad because my hot take for this NFL season was that the Raiders were going to be good.
Yeah, I know.
That's the one hot take that I had. Most of my takes were pretty accurate. You know, I said Russell Wilson wasn't going to be that great. Now, granted, I didn't think he was going to suck.
Oh, well, forget it, because freaking I said Matt Ryan and the Colts were going to the Super Bowl, but that was kind of like a pipe dream. But
I thought that the Colts were going to be better. I thought they were going to win the division going into the season. I thought the Titans would downfall, but Mike Vrabel is a very good coach. And he's doing it with nothing, which obviously we see with the Titans firing their GM. There's a talent issue. Mike Vrabel is winning in spite of the talent that they have.
Well, yeah, Brian said that that's not bad. One of my favorite podcasters said Broncos in the Super Bowl. I actually think a lot of people had the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
A lot of people had Broncos winning the division.
Yeah. I said that. I said they might be able to as well. Like I didn't think Russell Wilson would be this bad. That's what I was counting on. I didn't think they'd be this bad because they are a top 5 defense.
Yeah, we also, I think everybody failed on the Chiefs. I think a lot of people expected with Tyreek Hill leaving that their offensive production was going to go down, and that all these other teams, whether it be the Chargers, Broncos, or the Raiders, were going to come up and win the division. I think everybody thought that except for Chiefs fans.
Yeah, Brian, there was a lot of teams that actually didn't meet expectations this year. It's even with we kind of knew Green Bay was going to drop a little bit just because of the wide receiver situation and whatnot. But Green Bay, even regardless of that, they still had a good defense. The only pieces that lost really was Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, I knew. Like I said, I predicted Green Bay would be not bad, but I didn't have them making the playoffs to start the season. But I didn't have the Lions potentially making the playoffs either. So I was kind of wrong and right at the same time for that. But I had Vikings winning the division. I was super high on Kevin O'Connell with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I didn't expect them to go get TJ Hawkinson, but now they got TJ Hawkinson like that. I had high hopes for them.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers possibly could retire at the end of this year too. So that team's
Yeah.
doesn't know what they're gonna do. I don't think Jordan Love's the answer either. As well as he looked that one time he took over for Rodgers, but that could have been
I think
easily
they
could have been a
play.
fluke game.
I think they go with Jordan Love for at least a year to try to. They're either going to tank or they're going to play good enough to be like, okay, he can lead us.
Yeah, I think my Falcons actually like met my expectations at least, or a little exceeded, I guess, in a sense.
The Jaguars met my expectations. They played competitive football for most of it. The only game that wasn't competitive was last week. And to be 14 weeks into the season now, I can't argue with that. I think we took a step in the wrong direction though with that defensive performance against the Lions. I told everybody the Lions were going to be scoring a lot of points, but I didn't expect them to go 8 for 8. 8 possessions, 8 scores. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the scare with Trevor Lawrence as well, like
Well, yeah, that's
because even if he's so late in the season that he might not even be ready to start next if it was a serious
well,
injury.
he's playing Sunday, and he's not listed on the injury report, which is crazy to me because that hit was crazy. He was wearing a boot all week, and he wasn't on the injury report.
Dude, that hit looks so bad. Like I
Yeah,
saw his
and what's
leg.
crazy? What's crazy though? The left tackle you just paid is the one that couldn't block this guy.
Damn. Oh, Brian said he's been picking Jags to win all year. I mean, yeah, Jags. Hey, they've been in one-score games, so you don't even know how many games they could have won if they won all their one-score games.
Well, that's why I'm so good for next year. So, all of our games have been one possession. We have 8 losses. You bring Calvin Ridley in, he can win you 2 or 3 games. He's going to make the catches that Marvin Jones wasn't able to, or Christian Kirk couldn't do as the one. But also, what Calvin Ridley's going to do, he's going to open up Christian Kirk and Zay Jones even more. And then you have Travis Etienne, who is going to have another year. He's going to explode next year, I think. As long as we get a healthy, competent running back to take some of the load off. I think our biggest questions next year is left guard, tight end, and then our entire defense. Which is sad because we just spent the most in free agency. We spent that on a defensive tackle, a first overall pick at edge. We drafted 2 linebackers in the first and third round. You have a third-round pick at safety who has been good, and then you have another safety that's about to be on an expiring contract in Rayshon Jenkins. So you spent on Fatukasi, you spent on Olamide Zacchaeus. Why would I just say the Falcon? Oye Luakan. You spent big money on Shaquille Griffin at corner, and your defense let you down that bad? So while I think the offense has potential to be top 10 in the league, especially with Calvin Ridley, the defense is just not going to do it. That needs an overhaul.
Yeah, and even this year the Falcons have been in so many one-score games, so many endings that have honestly we should have 8 or 9 wins at this point. If you think about the Saints' first week of the season, definitely shouldn't have lost that game. And you think about the Chargers game where the defensive lineman fumbled the football that would have put us right near field goal range to win that game against the Chargers. And the Washington Commanders game where the ball gets tipped in the air and we're at the 2 yard line. Definitely could have gone our way too. And there's multiple situations too.
Mariota missing wide open guys for 80-yard touchdowns.
That could have changed the game completely.
Yeah.
Even with Pittsburgh, like if we could have a chance at tie field goal if he doesn't throw an interception there.
Yeah.
And he stared down that receiver, which is what pissed me off so much. I was at Taco Mac up here. I was watching a game. And like literally, as soon as I was like, okay, one chance, and then Mariota, I saw his eyes. He was staring down Drake London as soon as the play started, and Minka just picked it off. I was like, get rid of her. And then Arthur Smith's face just said everything. He was like, it's Ritter time. Like, no, that's it. I'm done. No. That was so bad.
Arthur Smith's press conference, he's been very vocal about how there's no quarterback situation.
He's stubborn. He's been stubborn.
Very stubborn. But right after that game, he said, we're going to address it after the bye. We're going to look at the tape, and we're going to make a decision. He hadn't said that all year, and you could tell. As soon as he started saying that, Desmond Ritter, that's the guy. He had that in his head as soon as that interception was thrown, that he's got to move on. You got to see what you've got in your talent. I get you're in the playoff race, but I think everybody would rather see what Desmond Ritter can do than to make the playoffs.
Because he's decent. He can win us games too. Like, I mean, what is it? Oh, damn, what was I about to say? Dang. Forgot. Oh, I think Ian's camera froze real quick. I was about to say, I literally forgot what I was gonna say. Falcons have. Dang, I had it in my mind. Oh, as soon as Ian gets back, I have it in my head. Yeah, Brian, like literally, either bite Jaguars and Falcons if they won all their one-score games, they're both in the playoffs. Ian kind of died, so he'll be back in just a second. But yeah, so if you guys seen our podcast, seen some of our guests on a podcast before, you guys probably know ATL Will on TikTok. Okay, you're back. So ATL Will on TikTok, he's been in our podcast a couple of times. You guys may or may not remember him, but his friend of his, Joe knows, he saw Desmond Ritter, Arnold Ebiketie, and Drake London at his sunglass shop, or that he works at, his friend. And he literally was talking to Desmond Ritter. He's a huge Falcons fan, so he's just talking to them. And he was talking to Ritter. He was like, when are we going to see number 4 to number 5, which is Drake London? And Ritter was like, real soon, real soon. And that was on Tuesday. And the announcement comes out on Wednesday. So
we definitely talked with him the day before.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's crazy. I knew it was coming. Like, yeah, it was crazy. I'm just ready to see him play. I just want this week to go by fast. I'm ready, bro. And if he beats the Aints,
I forgot you're not playing this weekend.
Yeah, and that's a bye week.
Dang.
Yeah, and we start Ritter, of course. If Desmond Ritter beats the Aints in his first game in his career, you don't know how hyped I'm gonna be. I'm gonna shit talk so hard to Aints fans. Oh my god, it's gonna be a reckoning. It's gonna be the Red Death of Game of Thrones on Twitter. It's gonna be bad. If you're a Saint fan, don't check our PI podcast Twitter or even my Twitter. It's gonna be a bloodbath. They're lucky it wasn't a bloodbath when the Saints choked that lead to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's yeah. You got anything else?
We gonna do it again tomorrow?
Yeah, Let's do it. Yeah, guys. Yeah, we definitely. It's pretty late right now. And you're out there in your car in the middle of the night.
I know. You got people looking at me funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to try to be back tomorrow, guys. And tomorrow we are going to go over week 14 games tomorrow. So make sure you look up for that. We'll have pre-game coverage and whatnot. Get you guys ready for Sunday football. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we'll do our picks. Our prize picks.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna put a 50 burger. I'm gonna put a 50 burger on a 2-legger.
You're gonna put a 50. Okay. You know what? Bet. If you put a $50 on a 2-legger, I'm putting $50 on 5 picks. You have to pick 2. I'll pick 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll put $50 on it. Yeah, I'm putting $50 or even 75 if you want me to be risky.
Let me see, because I can put your code in.
Yeah.
And maybe get some more money. So whatever, I'll put $50 in. But if I get like a $10 or $20 bonus or whatever, I'll put that on it too. So whatever it is.
Okay. Dude, yeah. No, it's. Whew. I've been trying to hit big.
Yeah, if I hit big, dude, I'm probably happy.
Bro, I've been 4 times in the last 4 days. Like the second half for Rams Raiders, I got 4 out of 5 right.
Do they allow insured picks?
Yeah, no, I was talking about underdog. I've been using underdog because guess what? Prize Pick doesn't allow MasterCard right now. There's an issue with MasterCard, so I haven't been able to put anything in Prize Picks. And PayPal's broken on there, so. Yeah,
I've been using underdog, but I re-downloaded Prize Picks, so I might try Prize Picks.
Oh, Prize Picks this week has you can put Justin Herbert more than half a yard, so you automatically hit.
Ooh,
he just needs a passing yard to hit.
I just need one lock then.
Yep. Or if you're smart, they have some taco things, so they'll put like basketball players down. So if you find that, you could literally put $50 on that. But the only problem with that, I think it's going towards like Prize Picks credit instead of just like the main thing.
Well, that's fine because then you bet with the credit, and once you win money from a credit, you can finally release it.
Yeah, but what if you hit and then you get so much money you want to cash out?
I know. But then you put money on like an easy lock, like Steph Curry for 1 3-pointer or something.
Yeah.
But all right, I guess I'm gonna go inside.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Brian, AJ, Tyler. Thank you guys for stopping by. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do our pregame for week 14, so don't miss it. We'll let you guys know what time on Twitter and Discord. So if you guys haven't followed our Discord or Twitter, let us know. We'll get you guys hooked up. Twitter's PI Podcast. Discord, if you need a Discord link, let me know. I can put it in the chat right now. Let me just go ahead and put that in chat real quick. I don't have to worry about it.
You guys rock.
I'm pretty sure I'm in the Discord and I can't find the link. All right.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, Brian. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for watching the PI Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next time so you don't miss the latest news in the NFL world. You can also follow us on TikTok at PI Podcast and on Twitter at PI Podcasters. Until next time.